in today's video, we'll be taking a look at a few NBA stars who seriously need to step up their fashion game. Starting off with the Under Armour Charge BB. Back in 2012, Under Armour promised to create a basketball shoe inspired by its line of football cleats, promising a shoe so tough and tight that it could potentially eliminate the need for taping your ankles. What came as a result looked more like a rejected blueprint from Tony Stark's trash pile, the Mark I Iron Man suit that he couldn't even walk in and also almost killed him. The two-piece collar and tongue design were so rigid they had to be worn like skiing boots, with its Swiss cheese sole turning into ice skates as soon as you stepped on a grain of dust. If you're a fan of the horror genre, make sure to look up some reviews for these shoes over on YouTube. Trust us, they're way more terrifying than any of the Saw traps combined. Gun to your head and forced to walk a mile in these shoes, you'd better call your family and tell them you love them. Next up, there's the Reebok Preacher Ice. It looks like there's been a growing nostalgia for Shaquille O'Neal's first signature shoes recently, but if you're one of the few who were old enough to remember Diesel's arrival in the NBA, you probably already know that the friendly giant was the Kazam of sneakers at the height of Michael Jordan's Space Jam powers. And much like the genie that Shaq had been portraying, these kicks were also more than capable of creating magic, as they managed to somehow make even Shaq's size 22s look like they'd been crammed into baby shoes. Our toes are cramping up just looking at this shoe. Following up, we have the Warner Brothers Big Countries. On the topic of Space Jam, Warner Brothers was once so obsessed with the NBA that they decided to try and enter the sneaker game. Yeah, no kidding, with Glenn Rice and Bryant Big Country Reeves becoming the biggest signees. However, Rice would soon drop out following a Nautica deal, so the 7-foot Vancouver Grizzly ended up becoming the face of the WB brand. The shoe themselves looked like they were the biggest, whitest versions of the kicks you'd find in the wire bin in the back of your local Goodwill, the kind you wouldn't mind getting dirty while doing a bit of yard work, which, to be fair, is perfect for someone like Reeves since he's currently retired and working on his cattle ranch in Oklahoma, probably sitting on a tractor with a pair of clay-caked Big Countries while you're watching this video. Moving on, there's the Adidas Garnet 3s. Just to make it clear before we start talking about these footsies, there were actually two different Garnet 3s. The first kind was released by Nike back in 1999, later rebranded as the Air 3s after Kevin Garnett dropped the label for Adidas, who released their own version of the Garnet 3s later in 2003. However, this version had been so uninspiring that it ended up inadvertently causing the disappearance of KG's signature series as a whole, matching his signature on the side of the shoes, which used to be printed so thin and tiny that it almost seemed to be disappearing as well. Coming up next is the Reebok Zig Slash. Back in 2010, Reebok and John Wall decided to introduce the Zig Slash, featuring its so-called innovative Zig Tech, consisting of zigzag-shaped suspension-based soles that claim to absorb all the energy from impact and redistribute it as propulsion. This launch was also accompanied by Chad Ochocinco's Zigs, made using the same tech, with the cast of Jersey Shore wearing the brand in clubs, flaunting its logo of being the energy drink for your feet. However, much like the case with energy drinks, a promising start was soon followed by a decrease in performance and eventually irrelevance, just like the cast of Jersey Shore. Fight us. The penultimate entry on our list is the Reebok Answer 9s. One look at these pair of kicks and you'll soon be asking yourself, just what is the question that the Answer 9 was actually trying to answer? To answer that question, have you ever wondered what happened to all those prop stormtrooper helmets that were left behind after the production of Star Wars? Then you can probably guess what they got repurposed into, a shoe that ironically ended up missing the target just as badly as one of the stormtroopers would. And finally, at the very bottom of our list, we have the Adidas Heat Checks. These temperature-sensitive strip-infused kicks were designed to convert the heat from your feet into a chemical change of colors for each of the 3 signature Adidas stripes. However, unfortunately, those strips would often change color before the game would even start due to the intense mental and physical labor that was required in order to figure out how to lace up the shoe's convertible tongue. However, these aren't the worst shoes to ever be worn by NBA stars. One of the best parts about the NBA, other than all the superstars, legends, and icons that made the sport so great, was its oddballs, with some stars showing their personalities through their choice of footwear. Over the last couple of decades, we've seen quite a few characters take to the court rocking some truly strange kicks, ranging from luxury high tops to high heat collabs, as well as running shoes shoes that practically had no lateral support. Let's take a look at a few of these too, shall we? First up, there's the Adidas Yeezy Boost 750. While some stars make basketball history by setting statistical records or winning championships, others make it using just their clothing choices. Young appears to fall in the latter camp, with one of his most memorable moments being the time he wore the original Boost 750s during a game between the Lakers and the Houston Rockets. And despite being on the wrong end of a 126-97 loss, let's be honest here, the only thing we all remember from that game is Young's kicks. He'd recently also signed with Adidas and visibly wanted to show his fellow striped family member Kanye West some love. We sure do miss the old Kanye, the doesn't hate Jews Kanye, the mentally stable Kanye. Young also made his first ever assist to the late Kobe Bryant during the same game, giving all of the credit to his footwear, going on to wear the core black version of the kicks during an early 2016 contest as well. Up next, we have the Nike Air Max 90. Thabo Sefolosha is known as the Air Max 90 King of the NBA. Despite being a weird thing to be the king of, the 14-year veteran who had spent most of his distinguished career rocking the Tinker Hatfield design classic couldn't care less even if he tried, leaving people confused as to how he even managed to run around wearing the pair. Sefolosha had worn the Air Max 90s while he was recovering from an injury he'd sustained during the 2014-15 NBA season, growing fond of its quickness and grip. What sets him apart from all the other names on this list is his loyalty to the model, as despite being nowhere near close to being a basketball shoe, it was what worked for him, not just wearing it for show but for its performance. Different blokes, different strokes, we suppose. Following up, there's the Nike Air Max 1 Mid ID. Before becoming the undisputed Air Max 90 King of the NBA, Sefolosha used to have a brief flirtation with the little-known Air Max 1 Mid. He used to rock the mid-cut Air Max 1s during the first few games after his return from rehab, resulting in more than a few double takes from fans and sneakerheads alike. And just like his beloved Air Max 90s, Sefolosha also made most of his Air Max 1 Mids on Nike ID, meaning that the pair were so random that there weren't even any product shots of them on the market. You can't help but notice the down-to-earth feeling about the star's footwear process. Despite being a millionaire athlete whom any brand would have been more than happy to gift some kicks, he used to prefer customizing the pairs that he liked on his own. However, one thing was definitely for sure, Sefolosha was brave for wearing such a mid-cut lifestyle shoe while playing as a runner during his first set of games back from healing his broken leg. But hey, at least they offered some ankle support. Moving on, there's the Dolce & Gabbana Bowl. If you think wearing an Air Max Plus on the court is insane, you probably think that someone hooping in a Dolce & Gabbana sneaker was absolutely deranged. However, besides Agent Zero, Gilbert Arenas also has another nickname, with the No Chill Gil side being on full display after he showed up on the court rocking a pair of D&G Bull high tops. Arenas was a sneaker free agent following his split from Adidas, so he could pretty much wear whatever he wanted. And lastly, there's the undefeated ex-Reebok Instapump Fury. While the Reebok boasts a strong basketball heritage that includes legends such as the likes of Allen Iverson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Shawn Kemp, following a period of inactivity, the brand recently began inching its way back into the NBA spotlight by slowly rebuilding its hoops roster. For them, the high-energy forward/center star Montrezl Harrell is a key part of that effort, and back in 2019, he showed up to the court rocking the new undefeated ex-Reebok Instapump Fury during the Clippers' season-opening victory over the Lakers. But as you can imagine, for a bruiser like Trez, a minimalist design like the Instapump Fury was as far away from what he needed as you could get. Thankfully, for the sake of his feet and ankles, he realized this pretty quickly and decided to switch to the question mid double cross halfway through the game. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you agree with our list? And are there any other ugly NBA worn sneakers that you think should have been featured in this video? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.